Welcome to the Wandering Clinician. I'm so glad you're here as we explore the intersection of mental health, personal growth, and the human experience, one meaningful conversation at a time. If you are enjoying the journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast with others who might need a little insight or inspiration. Your support means the world and helps me keep the conversation going. Let's keep wandering together. Today, I want to talk about television and social medias, the digital peanut butter and jelly of our modern lives. Separately, they are potent, together, potentially delicious, but also a recipe for mental health stomachache at times. Let's start with television. Once the reigning monarch of living room entertainment, TV was our nightly escape. Sitcoms, drama, and oh yes, late night infomercials if you can sleep. That made us believe that we indeed needed that device that could cut your hair without having to go to the hair salon or a sword collection. And you would do that at 2 a.m. or you'd buy a device that was supposed to get you in shape at 4 o'clock in the morning. But television also brought with it unrealistic body images. Yes, it's really hard to like yourself when you see people who are trying to be perfect on television and warped expectations about relationships when you see perfect families getting along together. And of course, the children, as the more recent years have become the masters in the home, and the parents are dumbfounded to get anything past them. Yes, I'm also looking at you, Hallmark, with every movie ever. The cute divorcee or the really, single girl moving into a town and meeting Prince Charming, not getting along, and by the end of the show, getting married and having 5 babies. And what creeping suspicion that is your life isn't resolved in 22 minutes with a laugh track. So when things happen to you, there's nobody laughing in a corner or laughing with you. No, life feels more like it's laughing at you. You're doing it wrong. So let's go into social media. The rebellious younger sibling. Yes, unlike television, it talks back. It's the high speed, filter heavy comparison fueled feedback loop you check before brushing your teeth. You may get up in the morning and first thing you do is grab your phone and look at all the messages you've gotten and all the likes. And perhaps you are trying to keep up with the likes of all the people you went to high school with, even though you haven't talked to them in 30 years. And so, unlike that vintage TV, we're still in your homes. Social media doesn't wait for prime time. It's on 24/7. It's almost like a 7-Eleven. Sometimes it's not a whole lot of choice, but it's always there, relentlessly whispering, "You're not doing enough." Look at Karen's vacation in Bali. A breakfast smoothie is prettier than your face. Social media amplifies the best and worst of us, the joy of connection and creativity, but also the fear of missing out. Cyberbullying. Yes, there are so many trolls online, so many people living in the basements in the Midwest, spewing their venom all over us, and the dreaded doom scrolling. It's not by accident, though. Studies have linked excessive use with increased anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem, because nothing quite kills the mood like measuring your worth in likes. There was a really great episode on Black Mirror. It's called Nosedive. It's with Bryce Dallas Howard. And basically, she lives in a society where you get benefits based on whether or not people like you on social media. It's a really good episode. If you have Netflix, go check it out. So, both mediums also provide comfort and connection. For every toxic TikTok trend, is it still a thing in America, TikTok? I know that somebody was trying to cancel it. There's a wholesome dog video that restores your will to live. Nothing is prettier than a husky saying, "I love you." For every manipulative reality show, there's a documentary that makes you cry and call your mom, or your sister, or your brother, or your next door neighbor, or whomever you can call. In the end, it's not the platforms themselves that are the villains, it's how you use them. If television is the friend who brings popcorn and drama, social media is the hyperactive kid who overshares, maybe mental health lies in setting boundaries with both, and occasionally turning them off in favor of, say, take a walk outside, have a real life conversation with someone. That will not give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. The balance in all this is kind of balancing it out. When I turn the television on and I go First of all, I never watch anything live. Everything is pre-recorded or on demand. I hate commercials. But when I go on television, I have a really hard time finding a show that is not a softcore porn or a murder spree show where everybody's been killing everybody. So if you have any suggestions of shows that you like, please contact me and let me know because I'm really running out of material to watch. Everything is so dark, dystopian, gloom and doom. I hate it. So that brings me up to the next topic I want to cover today, which is conspiracy theory. Yes, conspiracy theory. Um, that phrase that instantly turns your uncle's dinner table ramble into a mental gymnastic event. The term conspiracy theory wasn't always the eye roll inducing label it is today. And it was not a weapon where, oh, this is a conspiracy theory where everything you're saying is wrong. It originally had a pretty neutral connotation, just a theory involving conspiracy. Like people plotting something behind closed doors. Like that never happens, right? Which, let's be honest, doesn't happen sometimes. Does happen sometimes. So, like Watergate, yeah. Just saying Watergate. I mean, maybe if you're my age, you know, but younger people, it's Nixon and the Watergate building, and go look it up. But here's where it gets juicy. The popular myth itself, a bit of a conspiracy theory, which actually is not. Think about it. Claims that the CIA deliberately weaponized the term. Well, they did weaponize the term. Was it deliberate? I think so. In the 1960s, to discredit critics of the Warren Commission, that's the commission that was brought together to investigate the assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy on the 22nd of November 1963, where they basically came together and said, Lee Harvey Oswald did it from the book depository in Dallas. And so in 1967, the CIA did circulate a memo, a document 1035-960, suggesting ways to counter conspiracy theorists, encouraging agents to use the term to undermine those questioning the official narrative. So while the term itself existed before that, dating back to at least the late 1800s, the modern use of conspiracy theory as a rhetorical eye poke really picked up steam around then, especially to imply irrationality, paranoia, tinfoil hats, and craziness altogether. If you are spewing conspiracy theory, you must be insane. Today, it's a double-edged sword. It used to dismiss wild, baseless ideas. The Earth is flat because gravity is a hoax, and to shut down uncomfortable truth. Corporations might not have our best interests at heart. Yes, I don't think they do. I think they have their own best interests at heart. Come on, it's business. It's only business. So next time someone says there's just a conspiracy theory, remember, it could be nonsense or it could be early access to next decade's Netflix docuseries. Stay skeptical, not cynical. And yes, aluminum foil is a poor conductor of truth. So, there are many conspiracy theories, and some of them are not conspiracy theories anymore because they were proven to be true. But let's explore that better. Conspiracy theories can be like psychological junk food, irresistible, occasionally comforting, but often detrimental when consumed in excess. The mental health effect depends on whether you are believing the theories, promoting them, or just trying to survive dinner with your uncle. So, if you believe in conspiracy theories, it often offers a sense of control or understanding in chaotic times. If the world feels out of hand, a tidy, albeit sinister, explanation. It's all orchestrated by that secret group that meets in Washington. That can be oddly soothing. This is especially appealing during social upheaval or personal instability, but that comfort can come with a cost. So let's talk about the cost. Paranoia and mistrust will increase exponentially. If you believe in things that not everybody believes in, you might isolate yourself from friends and family. Never helpful if you're depressed. Extreme beliefs can evolve into delusional thinking, particularly for people who are vulnerable to mental illness. So if you tend to get depressed or anxious, conspiracy theory can increase that. There's even a proposed condition called conspiracy mentality. where people become hyper-suspicious of authority, science, or even loved ones, which can seriously affect the day-to-day functioning. So we've talked about the believers. Let's talk about the non-believers. Trying to reason with a conspiracy theorist can feel like arguing with a GPS that insists you should make a turn off a bridge. It's frustrating, anxiety-inducing, and sometimes traumatic, especially when relationships are on the line. So if you are dealing with somebody who drives you up the wall, maybe it's time to talk to a therapist, because therapists can talk to you about distress, gaslighting, and even grief when somebody is starting to spew conspiratorial thinking. Is it logical to think some people benefit from gaslighting others? Logical? Sadly, yes. Ethical? Absolutely not. Gaslighting, the psychological manipulation technique of making someone question their reality, is a classic power move. And like all power moves, it has its beneficiaries. Gaslighting is actually coined after a movie, I think from the 40s, with Ingrid Bergman, who marries a man and she starts spiraling into madness because she starts hearing things that no one else hears, seeing things that no one else sees, and she starts questioning her own mental health. But then she realizes she's being played. If you haven't seen the movie, watch it. I don't want to give you the whole plot, but it is where the term gaslighting comes from. Why would someone gaslight you? Control. If I can get you to doubt your own thoughts, I can steer the narrative and your behavior. Avoidance. Denying facts helps avoid accountability. That's not what I said. You're remembering wrong. Why are you making up stuff? Influence. Politicians, cult leaders, narcissists, or politicians who are cult leaders and narcissists, and sometimes psychopaths or sociopaths, depending on how they came about it. And even some corporations use gaslighting to shape perception and maintain dominance. You must hate the Mexicans. They're taking over the country. You must hate your neighbor. He's different from you. You must beware of that person. They love someone they should be loving. Gaslighting thrives in environments with imbalanced power, and it's especially effective and damaging when wielded by someone trusted. Sometimes I wonder why people trust some people, but hey, there's no accounting for tests, especially if you like the color orange. Over time, victims often experience chronic self-doubt, anxiety, and depression, a distorted sense of self. So yes, some people do and will benefit from gaslighting others, but it's the psychological equivalent of winning a chess game by flipping the board. So conspiracy theories can offer comfort, but often corrode mental health. Gaslighting is logical, useful to manipulators, but emotionally devastating to those on the receiving end. Both phenomena speak to our human vulnerability, our need for meaning, control, and connection, even if we sometimes seek it in all the wrong places. So let's get into another area. It's going to get juicy. It's like squeezing a lemon. Oh, now this is where things are very, very, very interesting. So just because it's called a conspiracy theory doesn't mean it's false. Buckle up, because some of these will have you questioning everything, including your history textbook. So, MKUltra. MKUltra, the theory was the CIA was secretly experimenting with mind control using LSD and other drugs. It was a conspiracy theory, and actually it's totally true. The CIA ran MKUltra from the 1950s into the early 70s, dosing unsuspected civilian prisoners and even their own agents with psychedelic drugs, sometimes without consent. They were looking for ways to control behavior and extract information. It sounds like the plot of a sci-fi movie, but it was declassified in the 1970s and confirmed by congressional hearing. The CIA tried to create real-life Manchurian candidates. Watch the original with, I can't remember his name, Frank Sinatra. Don't watch the remake with Denzel Washington. The original is way better. And let me tell you the plot twist. The movie and the MKUltra program, it did not end very well. So the thing about why the CIA would want to do this is because you cannot modify somebody's thinking. It's people think the way they want to think. What you got to do is you affect their environment to get them to do what you want. So if you take away their food, their water, you deprive them from sleeping, or you affect the environment, you can you can control them somewhat because people are afraid and they want to survive. But if you are talking to someone and wanting to get total obedience without modifying their environment, people are going to do what they want to do. If you don't believe me, try picking clothes for a 4-year-old and see how well it goes. Another conspiracy theory is COINTELPRO. So the FBI spied on and disrupted civil rights groups and other social movements. The CIA investigates the world. The FBI investigates America. The truth is, it's absolutely 100% true. From the 1950s to the 1970s, the FBI counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO, infiltrated, surveilled, and actively tried to dismantle groups like the Black Panthers, Martin Luther King Jr. movement, feminist organization, and anti-war activists. They used wiretaps, smear campaign, and forged letters. Classic spy stuff. And it's not happening in the movies. It's happening in real life. Minus the ethics. The FBI saw social justice as a national threat and acted like it was a Bond villain. Whether or not that has been dismantled totally, I don't know. The next one, they made an HBO movie about it. Very good one. Because it happened and it's actually very sad. It's called the Tuskegee Syphilis Study. The US government conducted unethical experiments on black men without their knowledge. It happened from 1932 to 1972. The US Public Health Service studied the progression of syphilis in black men in Tuskegee, Alabama. The kicker, they didn't tell the men they had syphilis and withheld treatment even after penicillin was a known cure. They just watched them die, and they wanted to see the progression of the disease. It is monstrous. When you think about Nazi experimentation, this falls right within the frame of actions, right? And so, guess what? If your own government, if an own organization is willing to experiment on members of society, what is going to be the outcome? Well, you're not going to trust medical officials because you're going to think that if somebody is willing to watch you die and watch a disease progress, they don't have your best interest at heart. Another one is called Operation Northwoods. The US military planned to stage fake terrorist attacks to justify war with Cuba. Yes, you heard me right. The US military planned to stage fake terrorist attacks to justify war with Cuba. And yes, but guess what? This was rejected. In 1962, US military leaders proposed Operation Northwoods, which included plans to fake terrorist attacks on American soil, including hijacking and bombings, to justify a war with Cuba. President Kennedy rejected the proposal, but the declassified documents are very real. It didn't happen, but someone sure spent time writing the screenplay. Northwood makes me think of an aftershave. The fact that they would want to bomb or commit crimes on American soil is beyond me. Another one, big tobacco knew smoking was deadly because they denied it. Oh, we didn't know that cigarette smoking kills. Cigarette companies knew smoking caused cancer, but covered it up. For decades, tobacco companies denied the health risk of smoking. All while internal documents showed they knew it caused cancer, heart disease, and was highly addictive. As a matter of fact, if you watch Mad Men, they all smoke, and they all promote smoking as, you'll be cool, you'll be stylish, you'll be good looking, you'll be popular. Smoke, 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 smoke. They even targeting advertising to children. Major lawsuits in the 90s exposed everything. I remember the commercial where you could see the Marlboro man saying to his friend, Bob, I've got emphysema. They knew, they lied, and they paid billions. I wish they would go out of business altogether, but we don't have the right to stand in the way of people wanting to commit suicide with cigarettes. So, the Iran-Contra affair, the US secretly sold weapons to Iran, an enemy state, and used the profits to fund rebels in Nicaragua. That is unfortunately 100% true. In the 1980s, the Reagan administration sold weapons to Iran, which was under embargo, and funneled the money to the Contras in Nicaragua. Despite a congressional ban on that exact thing, it blew up into a full-blown scandal, but many of the key players skated by with little accountability. And it happened under Reagan, the golden president, where everybody loves. A lot of people love him. But if you know anything about Reaganomics and the impact it had on American society, and you understand that a lot of these actions were really inappropriate, you would maybe not think that way. So it was illegal, it was international, and involved rebels, armed, and cover-ups. So another great movie coming out in 20 years when everybody who loves Reagan is no longer here. So not all conspiracy theories are created equal. Some are pure fantasy, like the Earth is flat and the Queen of England is a snake. Others are plausible speculation, and a rare few, or not so rare, like the ones I just mentioned, are called hard history. The trick is keeping your critical thinking sharp without slipping into a full-blown tinfoil hat mode. So, to prevent spiraling down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, doom scrolling, overthinking your entire existence at 3 a.m., or just feeling mentally unravelly. Is that a term, unravelly? Well, I'm making a term. Don't become unravelly. We've all been there. I get there sometimes. I want to provide you some tools because what's the point of, checking in a mental health podcast and not finding anything you can do to feel better? So, number one, you should anchor yourself in the present. So, also known as get out of your head. When your brain's doing cartwheels, sometimes the best move is to remind it you have a body. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grounding exercise. Name 5 things you see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 you can taste. If that doesn't work, go to the bathroom, run some cold water over your hand. And if it doesn't work, get in the shower and run some cold water all over your body. Hug a pet, a pillow, someone you love. Of course, get consent first, especially if you're trying to hug a cat. Why does it work? It pulls your focus from abstract panic into sensory reality. And I will tell you, there's nothing better than being in the now because when the now goes, it's the past and you can't do anything about it. Write it down, all of it. Get a journal. Get a journal and write everything you think. Do not filter it. Just let the messy, spiraling thoughts hit the page. Stream of consciousness journaling. You're not going to get published. It's not for other people's purview. It is for you to get that off your chest. So write a letter to yourself from a calmer self. Make a list titled Things I'm Scared About or Things that I'm Catastrophizing that may not deserve an Oscar. If you externalize your thoughts, making them easier to challenge and organize, you can live a better life. Also, limit the exposure to noise. Mute the chaos. Turn off the TV, turn off the radio. Don't go on the internet. Stop surrounding yourself with people who are stressing you out. Easier said than done, but sometimes you can try. So if you got a favorite uncle, as I said, would love to forward you every bit of news that is terrible and telling you how we're all gonna die, step away from it. Block. Set a limit on your apps. You can get a screen time report and if you see yourself being 12 hours online, that's not very healthy. Do a social media fast once in a while. Get off the social media. Don't check in for the day. Unfollow everyone or anyone who makes you feel like you want to commit suicide or makes your cortisol spike. Mental clutter fuels anxiety. Protect your attention like it's your rent money. Okay, another thing you can do is move your body like it's 1999. You don't have to become a CrossFit cultist, just move. Walk, get outside, dance like no one's watching. Maybe your dog is watching, but it doesn't matter. Walk outside and pretend you're a thoughtful human being experiencing life from the perspective of, I don't know, an indie film director. Stretch, wiggle, shake it off. Physical activity burns stress hormones and literally changes your brain chemistry for the better. The more you move your body, the better you will feel. So finally, don't let your thoughts spiral out of nowhere. Don't let it be the boss of you. Ask yourself, is this 100% true? Am I just making this up? Is this a fact? Is this a thought? What would I tell my best friend if my best friend was telling me this? What is the most boring, non-dramatic explanation for what I'm experiencing? Interrupt the feedback loop. Fear of irrational thoughts equals more fears. So if you're afraid of something that might or might not happen, all you're going to get is become more afraid. Then go out, reach out, touch someone, talk to a friend, text a friend, call your mom, come to therapy, talk to me. Join a group. You are never meant to handle modern stressors by yourself. Being by yourself, having crazy thoughts is not healthy. Being connecting to other people will make you feel better, as long as the other people are not your uncle, the one who's spewing conspiracy theories. So rest, hydrate, nourish yourself. Sleep matters. If you don't sleep well, you will have horrible days. If you don't drink enough, you'll be dehydrated, and you cannot think clearly when you don't have enough water in your body. Eat 3 times a day, and eat food that doesn't start with a mixed combinations of letters and numbers like XB545, stuff that's organic. Your brain is part of your body. Treat it like it belongs there. Respect it. Feed it. Nourish it. If you don't eat enough, you will start, you know, eating yourself from the inside. Not a pretty thought. Finally, if you've really been struggling for a very long time and nothing seems to work, I would tell you to reach out and uh, find a therapist and uh, and do the work to get better and to feel better. It's very important that you think about ways that you can take care of yourself. The same way you go to work and you have a job and you have relationships. The relationship you hold with yourself is very important and you need to maintain it. So, thanks for joining me on this episode of The Wandering Clinician. I hope something we explored today resonated with you or sparked a new perspective. If you found value in our time together, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. It helps me and it helps you more than you know. And if you're feeling generous, leave a review or reach out. I'd love to hear what's in your mind. Until next time, I wish you well. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.